Hello and welcome to the Long Island weather update. It's 9:30 on a very beautiful April the 16th. Hopefully you had a chance to enjoy it. It's still pretty warm out there. It was in the low 70s, but it is cooled off tonight. If you are lucky, you're enjoying temperatures that have dropped into the mid 50s because you notice that there's a sea breeze here at Islip. Take a guess of what it is in my alley right now. Yeah, it's 10 degrees warmer than that. 64 degrees. I gotta have the air conditioner going.
Oh, I hate this place!
Exhaust. It's just a hot hell here, I'm telling you. I thought I wouldn't need the air conditioner when I got back, but you can never underestimate this place. Yes, I was in the Pine Barrens today. It was a beautiful day. You'll definitely want to stay tuned. I have a video of that walk in the Pine Barrens. It was quite beautiful, and you can see the beautiful lakes. So we're back in Calverton Ponds again, and we had nice blue skies, no clouds at all whatsoever. It was a very, very nice day. So let's look at our satellite image. Speaking of the skies, you'll see some more clouds coming in from the west, but see, mostly sunny conditions. There were look like some high clouds that may have drifted over New Jersey during the afternoon, but we were clear here on Long Island for the most part. And we had generally northwest winds throughout much of the day, and then the wind shifted this evening. We finally saw a sea breeze develop. And yeah, that's our next storm right there that we're going to have to deal with. But first, before we talk about that, let's talk about the weather today and what we got going on out there right now. So temperatures are in the mid-50s across the area. And yeah, mid-50s generally everywhere. Mid-50s in Jersey, except mid-60s in the city, and even Mineola itself, I mean, there's a reading of 56 degrees, which isn't that bad, but again, the alley just holds in the heat, and it's like a lot warmer there. It's unbelievable. It just holds in the heat. So let's take a look at what the day was like at Islip today. You see it made it up to 70 degrees, still well above normal, but let's take a look and see what the day was like today. So throughout much of the day, temperatures, we had northwest winds and a little bit gusty at times. Temperatures quickly climbed through the 60s, and we are missing data for Islip. All right, we're missing some data, so we usually get more frequent data. It went to only hourly. But you'll notice what happened around 6 o'clock. So 70 degrees, and then the winds went from north-northwest to south-southwest. That was a sea breeze, and it dropped it down to 63, and now it has dropped down to 54 at Islip. Boy, most people on Long Island don't have to have the air conditioner on tonight. It's only because I live in a hot hell. Like I said, all the windows face this alley. It's closed in. It's a closed-in courtyard, only open at the top. I don't know how they even. I mean, this place really should be condemned. It's not habitable. You got to be able to open up your window and get fresh air. If you can't, I mean, it's the way I feel about it, But this is why I got the place, because nobody else wants to deal with it, and now I'm stuck with it. So, so I got to use the air conditioner. It's crazy. So, yeah, there was a sea breeze that did develop later on in the day. We'll look at West Hampton, too. So West Hampton also has that sea breeze there at 54. Again, most people can just open up the windows tonight, enjoy a nice cool breeze. That would be so nice if I could do that. It seems like we're missing observation data. It seems like we usually have more frequent observations, and then they went to only hourly. But it's still enough data to, show what happened when that sea breeze came in. We'll look at some winter maps, too, as well. So, warm day. Let's look at Ocean County, because believe it or not, I think they had a sea breeze there. So let's look at Miller Air Park here, and you see, all right, they got a little warmer than we did, but look at what happened. Right around, they had a sea breeze before we did. Started around, I guess, 4 or 5 o'clock. The temperature dropped to 66, then 63, and then 60, and then down to... So there was some sea breezes that developed, even though the miles didn't suggest that there would be. There were some sea breezes that developed today. So we'll look at the map, look at our highs and lows. And for highs, temperatures generally got to around 70 degrees, low 70s in New Jersey for the most part. Maybe even some mid-70s towards central Jersey. 73 in Central Park. 72 at JFK. 71 at LaGuardia. Low 70s across much of Nassau County, including the South Shore. And low 70s stretch into western half of Suffolk. And then you go a little further east where I was. It was a little bit cooler, upper 60s, generally. Let's go look at our lows. Lows, nothing really to remark about here. Low to mid-40s. The city obviously holding on to the heat. This is like what happens in the alley. I have a little, just traps the heat. And then a little bit of radiational cooling. I see a 39 at Miller Air Park. So let's go over our statistics for today. Our highs and lows. Climatology. For ice slip, the high was 69, the low was 44. That high was still 10 degrees above normal. And actually, it's showing 70, so we're 11 degrees above normal. And low of 44, which was 3 degrees above normal. So I put us 7 degrees above normal for the day. Still above normal, but because it was sunny and the sky was nice, it was still a nice day. And the humidity was nice and low throughout the day, as you saw there. Looking at the dew points, pretty low. 73 for a high at Central Park, a low of 54. And they were running about 10 degrees above normal for the day. So you get a gist of what the kind of weather we've been having. But again, if you look at the dew points, you'll see they're fairly low. 39. The dew points are actually probably a little lower earlier. They were. They actually dropped to the 20s. So let's go to Wonder Map here. We'll take a look and see the sea breeze in action for you. And again, this will give us some more temperature readings, so it kind of shows you where the heat is. You can see the warmer air into Nassau County. Definitely cooler in Suffolk a little bit. Cooler in Suffolk and the South Shore. Central Nassau, especially the city, holding on to the heat. No surprise there. Jersey also cooling off as well. So let's go take a look at what happened with the sea breeze. We'll actually go to... Why don't we go to... let's go to North Brentwood. So I'll show you what happened here. So you'll see the sea breeze. There it is, right there. You can see, look how the temperature dropped. It came through there around 7 o'clock. You can see, boom, dropped. You can see the dew point rose a little bit. The temperature dropped. That's your sea breeze right there. A few other areas. Let's go look at I don't know if this is North Pat. I don't know. I clicked somewhere in Patchogue. Let's see what they have there. So you can see the effect here. So there, it came through a little earlier, around 6 o'clock. Temperature dropped from 70 and then went down very quickly within about an hour down to the 50s. So it was a pretty significant drop when that sea breeze came in. And then if you're right on the South Shore, like Sayville, probably started maybe a little bit earlier. We'll see if it did. Yeah, it started there around 4 o'clock, and it went from the upper 60s down to the low 60s to upper 50s. And you can see, look at that jump in the dew point there. That's a classic sea breeze. Look at that right there. I'll circle it for you, but this is your classic sea breeze right here. You look at the graph like that. That's a classic sea breeze. So they got a pretty well-defined sea breeze front, and if we were right on the water, I always love talking about this stuff. It's always interesting. Let's look at Cherry Grove. Their sea breeze probably got going even earlier. Yeah, their sea breeze got going around 3 o'clock. Take a look at this. So they were in the mid-60s, and then boom, it dropped to the mid-50s. So 10-degree temperature drop in. Look at that, almost. So 314, we're at 66, and then boom. 10 minutes later, we're down in the mid-50s. That is really impressive. That's the power of the sea breeze there. It's a very intense drop, as you see there. And then we can look at the Pine Barrens area, too. But it took a while to get over to the Pine Barrens. So if we look at, say, Ridge, which is where we were hiking. Right around here, I guess. You see they've dropped down to 54 now as well. Yeah, see, the effect of the sea breeze, not quite as dramatic. Took a little longer because you're further inland, so it takes a little longer to cool down, maybe about an hour. All right. And then we'll go a little further here. We'll go to look at Mineola, where I don't know if we even got a sea breeze here. So we're going to look at that next, which wouldn't surprise me if we didn't. We'll see if we did. Nope, it is there. It actually is pretty well defined. So temperatures were around 70, and then they dropped right around 7 o'clock down to the upper 50s. So, yeah, there was a sea breeze in Mineola. It's just not getting into that alley in my particular part of Mineola. That's all. Depending on where you were, you did have the sea breeze, obviously. back in the preppy enclave here of Belmore. I'm sure it was a little more impressive. I just like looking at this. Is that the... Yeah, oh yeah, look at that. Boom. Something wrong with their dew point rating, but you can see the temperature dropping quick right there around 6 o'clock. So it didn't really come through the further west you were, the longer it took. But the thing about it, interesting thing is before we... Oh, what did I just do here? All right, I think I closed it out. All right, so we got to open it back up again. Jersey actually got it before we did. So, yeah, if you're in Tom's River, you probably had a sea breeze before a lot of other areas did. So let's go take a look at this. Yeah, they had a sea breeze. Well, not that. Well, that site definitely ain't working, right? It's not that hot there. Yeah, let's pick. We'll pick Beechwood, I guess. Let's try this one. Maybe this one will work right. So you could see the effect of the sea breeze there. Yeah, not quite as dramatic as Long Island, but it started earlier. It started around 3. But the effect definitely wasn't as dramatic. We can look at Brick. Brick has a tendency to get a better sea breeze. So we could look at Brick and see if maybe they got a little more of a sea breeze. But it's just interesting to watch this happen. You see it in the spring. There is the sea breeze. Yeah, it started earlier, but generally not as strong as Long Island. Not surprisingly. That's not at all a surprise. Not at all a surprise at all. So let's go back to the satellite and talk about what we have coming up. So here we go. Here's the satellite image, and you can see here this big storm here. This is the next storm system that we're going to have to deal with here. This big storm. Look at this. Another big storm with a, say it with me, Pacific connection. Here we go. You know, the El Nino, this El Nino, just the super El, I mean, the water temperatures have cooled, but we're still seeing this moisture conveyor out of the Pacific. It's still and feeding into the storms, and that's helped feeding now. Look at that. Severe weather right there, popping up there. You can see a line of thunderstorms right there into, it looks like, Illinois and parts of Missouri. So that looks like a pretty good line of thunderstorms right there. For us, we had the nice day, but you can see the advancing clouds. This low is going to, this whole frontier is going to get stalled out. Now we're going to be dealing with stall front syndrome, unfortunately, once again. Let me just put this to the lightning and see if we can get the lightning in time, because it looks like there's a lot of lightning with this. Yeah, the lightning's definitely ramped up a little bit over there too. Oh yeah, yeah, that's really active over there. That's really active in that area, the upper Midwest. Very active. So let's look at the radar. I wasn't going to, but we might as well. And you'll see, yeah, we got some strong lines, especially entering the western part. Oh, yeah, this is a nice little line here. Illinois into Chicago, yep. That area seems to be under the gun for the worst part of it right now. That's a nice line right there. Also, that's got to have some warnings on it. Let's go to the weather and hazards map. Let's see, we do have a tornado watch in effect in that area, and I do see some embedded warnings as well. So we're not going to see any severe weather from it, but so just keep that in mind for the, you know, yet another one of these big storms. You see it right there on the weather map. So let's go to the models here, and our high pressure that kind of nudged down from eastern Canada a little bit starts retreating, and we'll have increasing clouds tomorrow, and then rain developing by the evening. And then what's going to happen is you have a backdoor front and a warm front. It's going to get stalled out. Warm front's going to stall to the west, so we're going to be stuck in light rain. Not really heavy rain, but it's going to keep it gray, and there's going to be some sucky drizzle around. And that could be a problem through Friday as well. And then looking at the weekend, at least, right now the weekend looks decent, so it's good. So let's go to, that was the GFS we looked at. So let's go to the HRRR. 0's the HRRR run. Should have most of it in by now. So tomorrow, mostly dry until we get toward the evening, say 5 o'clock. You're going to start seeing some light rain move in the area. It's mainly light. It's not too heavy at first, but then later on, some heavier batches of showers do develop And then that is going to linger with us into Thursday, and you can see showers just kind of getting stuck over us. It's almost like forming like a low over us. It's not going to be particularly heavy, but it's just going to be more of a nuisance type of rain because you have this stalled warm front that we're going to have. So let's look at the dew points and wind flow to show you what I mean. All right, so tonight we're still in the dry air. We'll still be in the dry air tomorrow. See the wind start becoming easterly. That's going to definitely mean a cool day tomorrow. You notice all that humid air that's pooling up off to the west. So that humid air is going to wind up rising over the colder air at the surface. That's what's going to create your precipitation that we're going to have through Thursday and perhaps into Friday. And like I said, it seems like now it wants to, of course, develop a low along the front, which could help enhance precipitation on Thursday, because why not? So tonight, it's going to drop back. It will eventually cool off in the alley into the 50s, probably low 50s, maybe even upper 40s. Maybe if there's a little radiational cooling, it might get a little colder than that. Tomorrow will be cooler, particularly on Long Island, where the temperatures will probably be, especially on the South Shore, only the mid to upper 50s, maybe low 60s inland. On the North Shore, at Jersey inland, you can still get up to the 70 perhaps. And then tomorrow night, the temperatures are going to drop into the 40s, and Thursday is going to be staying very chilly. So here you go. This is the warm front right here. You can see exactly what's going on here. So we've got this cold maritime polar flow, and then you have this warm front off to the southwest, and that is going to you got this warm front right here. You can see it right here. Here's your warm front right here. It's stuck. All right, stationary warm front. All right, so it's going to be stalled out, and you're going to have stalled front syndrome here. That's going to be sitting over us, and when you have this type of situation, you're going to have that warm air coming in and rising up over the colder air at the surface, and that usually leads to rain showers and sucky drizzle. I say sucky drizzle because I hate drizzle. And we're going to have to be dealing with that. And gray, nasty, miserable conditions on Thursday. It's going to be a pretty depressing day. Meanwhile, if you're in Virginia, you'll be sweating because you'll be in the 80s. And it'll be a little humid, too. So this is all part of this larger, warmer air mass. So if I go to the eastern U.S. view, you can see, look at this, a huge warm air mass here that we have that's kind of just stalled out here. It's kind of just stalled out. I can show you on the GFS the same deal. It's just stalled out, and it's going to stay stalled out. We're not actually going to get into that because we've got some blocking over here. That high is going to kind of keep us in that maritime polar flow. But you can see that we will be having that warm air kind of suppressed. And then by the weekend, you can see it eventually. We'll see some sun again. Nothing crazy warm. The heat stays off to the southeast. That's fine, but I hate the stall front idea, because that's gonna mean more precipitation. So going back to the HRRR, I want to go back to the HRRR. We'll look at some soundings to kind of show you what we're going to be dealing with. Now tomorrow we'll obviously have plenty of cloud cover. You see that, but look at that bump in the temperature there. Look at how the temperature and the dew point rise. That's your atmosphere getting squashed down. And you're going to see that even more on I'll go to the GFS here on this. You'll see this even more on Thursday, where you're going to have a very, look at that, just saturated all the way down. And that's going to lead to a lot of the drizzly, crappy conditions that we're going to have on Thursday. That's going to be the worst day of the week, I think, is going to be Thursday. So we'll look at some of the other models when it comes to precipitation. I'll go to the NAM, and we'll go to the NAM 12, so we can go a little further out to show you what's going to happen. So this is the first batch of precipitation again for tomorrow night. The NAM's a little more heavier with it, of course. So of course, why not? And then you can see it's going to kind of just sit over us. You can see this front is just stalled out over us, so it's going to sit over us, stalled just front just to the west. So you're going to have the rain kind of riding along it, and then maybe by Friday we can get rid of some of it at least. But there still may be some drizzle around. You can see it's still showing something. The NAM is still showing something. So let's look at the total accumulated precip, because we're going to get into another miserable wet period. But it's not going to really amount Well, I shouldn't have said that. The NAM actually wants to give us perhaps as much as another inch of rain, perhaps, or half an inch to an inch of rain. I have a feeling the HRRR is significantly drier than that. Let's look at that. We don't go all the way out on it, but no, actually, yeah, HRRR is in line with that too, perhaps another inch. So we may overperform yet again, because you do have this warm air there that's kind of advecting over the cold air, and it's going to create lift, and it's going to create wet weather. That's what it's going to do. Let me go back to the NAM. We can show you how this all happens on the FGen. Go over here to the 18Z run. So you start to see there's one area FGen moving through in the evening that'll bring your other rain, and then Thursday, no really crazy amounts of FGen, but again, with that front just parked there like that, it's just going to create miserable kind of weather. Skies, or we'll go to the skies now on the RGM. This kind of actually shows it very well. So you can see clouds moving in tomorrow, and then look what happens. Yeah, it just doesn't move. It gets stuck. Here we are. Thursday, it's stuck. You can see now. If you're in Maine, yeah, you won't have to deal with any of this. You'll have sunshine. The further east you are, probably the better off you'll be. Probably, maybe Boston might even get away with having drier weather. But where we are, we're just on the other side of the. We're on the cold side of the warm front. And we're going to be close to that front, and that's going to keep the shower chances and rain chances around. You can see again, the clouds will be with us through Friday, according to this. So don't expect to see the sun. You see the sun tomorrow for a little bit in the early part of the day, and that's it. Say goodbye to the sun for Thursday and Friday, and then maybe by Saturday, maybe we can start to see it. Maybe more likely even by Sunday, perhaps. But I'm not even going to go into the weekend right now with the skies. Let me go to the NAM 3. Look at the NAM 3 for rainfall as well. So we could show you this as well. So this is the NAM 3, the higher resolution. So there's that batch of showers that comes in. It looks fairly light for tomorrow night. It does, but it's going to be a nuisance. And then here comes some more showery type of rain. I shouldn't say showers. It's more like an area of light rain. This is more of a showery type of rain here Thursday. And it's just going to get stuck over us. It's just going to sit around literally on top of us all day. It's not going to, and it could be possibly briefly heavy at times. So it's just going to be just a miserable day Thursday, and we're going to have windy. It's going to be a little bit on the breezy side too, I think. So let's look at the wind next. Probably should use a different model for that. So let me go to Ventus Sky, and we'll show you what kind of deal we're going to be getting. So Wednesday, you can see the easterly flow already coming in. All right, wind gusts just 9 miles an hour, but I think Thursday, yeah, they'll pick up a little bit. They'll pick up to maybe 20 miles an hour. It won't be like wind advisory criteria, but it's just going to make that annoying windy drizzle kind of crap that we're going to have all day. And that's the problem that we're going to have. So speaking of drizzle, there's one way we can visualize that by using the windy.com model, and that's what we're going to do next. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to go to this and go to clouds, aviation, and we are going to go to visibility. So you'll see as we get to Thursday, you'll see all those area reduced. It actually seems like it's pushing. The European wants to push some of that drizzle back to the west on Thursday. I'm hoping that's right, but that would be nice if that would happen, but I don't know if I'm buying that. And Friday, it's not showing too much drizzle, so Euro is a little drier, and I'm hoping that's correct. If we go to precipitation, that feeling we'll see. Well, let's see if we can do, I don't know where, oh yeah, rain, snow. So if we go to precipitation here, let's see. Rain accumulation. All right, so next 3 days. Yeah, it's a little lighter than some of the other models. Doesn't really give us an inch. So we can hope that the European is right and it's a little drier. But the prospects are not great for the next couple of days. So, get ready for more crappy, sucky weather to end this week. But at least the weekend looks better. So, we had to pay for today, right? You know that. So that's going to wrap up this Long Island weather update. You have a good night.